E-collar prerequisites are basically getting yourself ready to begin training your dog. Training your dog is not as easy as just simply walking out there and giving commands. Although they're called commands, you do not have to be your dog's commander in order to give it. So one of the key points that I make to folks initially is get your mind right. You're not going out there to order your dog, you're going out there to teach your dog. Your dog is ready to learn, wants to learn, but you have to be ready to teach. And you should never ask your dog to do something that you don't know how to teach it to do, which is often one of the biggest mistakes and points of frustration, because people go out and give their dogs orders when instead they should be teaching their dog what to do. So there are several things that you can do in order to prepare for a training session so that the outcome, the end state of your dog, is what you are hoping to have, which is a good family pet that behaves appropriately. So one of the first items that we can touch upon is location. So based on where you live and how you live with your dog, location is important. Whether we have to begin inside the house, whether we begin outside the house in a backyard, whether you go to a park or to an open vacant lot or a basketball court where there aren't many smells, much of it is dependent upon your dog. So if your dog is truly crazy whenever it sees somebody else, we obviously don't want to start in a location where it's going to see other people or other dogs. We want to start in a very low-level distraction environment that's free of sight, sounds, or smells. So if you go to a dog park to try and train your dog, that would be mistake number one. You want to go to a fairly serene location where you can control what comes in and what comes out. Backyards work really well for that. Your training can be improved and enhanced by the equipment that you have. Obviously, Garmin electronic collars are outstanding devices, and they allow you to do a lot of things. But in order to use the collar effectively, you also have to have a good quality leash, generally 6 feet long. You want to have a good flat collar or training collar on the dog, a simple chain collar or a fabric slip line that will make sure that the dog cannot get away from you. So if your collar is fitting properly and you try to ask your dog to come here and give a little bit of tension on the leash and your dog's head can pop out of the collar, then obviously it was fit poorly. And now your training session is going to turn into a chase session and everybody walks home mad. All right, so we want to make sure that the collar fits enough so that it still spins around the dog's neck but does not come off the dog's neck if you pull it. Now that's the flat collar that the leash attaches to, because a leash will never be attached to the electronic collar strap, ever. As a trainer, I cut the D-rings off of collar straps that the e-collar on to prevent people from making that mistake. Again, preparing for the session, avoiding errors by denying the opportunity for the mistake to happen in the first place. So a good long line, anywhere from 10 to 15 feet, a 6-foot leash, a good training collar or a good flat collar, and then your electronic collar fully charged and ready to go before training begins are the basics of what I walk out there with. In order to get the most out of your dog, you should not train your dog after it's been romping around the yard or jumping all over people or getting itself all worked up. So if you confine your dog 1 to 1.5 hours prior to a lesson, your dog has a rested body and a rested brain. So when he comes out of the kennel, he is ready to do something. And if you're ready to teach, that something is going to be learning. And you have a window of about 20 minutes post-confinement to really teach your dog something well. So if you use confinement before a lesson, train your dog 15 to 20 minutes, then sit and relax with your dog, giving it a period of decompression time to kind of absorb the lesson, and then put him in the kennel for about an hour afterwards, your dog has a much better opportunity to excel, to remember. It is more likely to retain the lesson than if you were to train him and then let him run around in the yard and get everything that he wants. I want to set the dog up for success so that my experience with the dog training it and its experience in learning is improved significantly. All right, a lesson plan. When I go out to train a dog, I'm not going out there to do adventure learning. I'm not trying to figure it out while I'm in the field. I know exactly what I'm going out there for. If I'm going to teach my dog 4 commands in a lesson, I'm going to teach it to follow me, go to a place, sit next to my side, and to move with me and change directions and heel. I know what order I'm going to do it in. I know what my expectations are. And if the dog struggles, I have to make an audible during the lesson. Okay, that's no problem. But when I go out there, I'm going to have a goal, a realistic goal, and I'm not going to expect my dog to do anything that I am not able to teach it. So if I'm trying to teach a dog sit, I'm not going to try and do it in an area that's not suitable. I'm not going to do it when I'm stressed. I'm going to have a plan that says I'm prepared, my dog is prepared, and I'm going to go out there and work these 3 or 4 critical tasks in order to teach him to sit.